attention span of someone that grew up in the internet generation is much, much shorter. With things like Twitter and Vine, that whole elevator speech mentality, you get one shot and it's one short shot to get their attention. Now you can sell them later with details and numbers and stuff, but when you're talking to someone in a social setting or a networking setting, you got one chance to get them and hook them. We deal on a shorter attention span initially, and then we'll think it through and look at all the details down the road. The value that I see in working with the new generation and how they've changed a little bit is that you as a realtor, or we as realtors, have to adapt to how they're taking in information. And how they're taking information is completely different than how they did 5 years ago or 15 years ago. 5 years ago, they were on the internet. We knew real estate was going on the internet. We knew Google was around and answering some of the questions. But now they're on an internet with a short attention span. If you look at something like Twitter or Vine or Snapchat, you've got a small window to capture their attention and get them interested and make sure that you can follow through after that. So you've got to hook them, and then you've got to reel them in and do the rest of the sale later. As a realtor, to get that hook, I like to do it with numbers. If they tell me they're renting something for $2,100, I like to turn around and think in my head and attribute to them that that's about a $300,000 mortgage. If they make a down payment, they could afford about a $350,000 house, apples to apples. So their out-of-pocket cost is the same, and then they're going to have a whole bunch of tax advantages and principal savings on top of that. But if you're looking at how the buyers changed, it's how they initially take on your approach, and you've got a very small window. You either make it or break it real quick, and you have to relate to how they're relating. Communicate with them on text message and on email and on internet advertising, because that's where they're looking. The younger generation isn't flipping through junk mail. If it comes and it's not a bill and it doesn't say Bank of America or BB&T or mortgage payment due on the top, it goes straight into the trash. It's presumed to be either junk advertising or a credit card application, and hopefully they're smart enough not to fill out any more credit card applications.
You know, it appears to me from watching our successful realtors, the younger realtors such as Reed, and dealing with the younger generation, that the younger generation, they access lots of information in an online, in a social world, but they still need the help of a great realtor to guide them through the process, translate that information, and kind of put how it all fits together. It's a big generational change, because in my early days in sales, we did everything face to face. We sat down with people and we'd sit with them for an hour, hour and a half, and kind of give them, guide them through what the home buying process was all about. And today's young person doesn't want to sit down for that hour-long meeting and learn about the process from a realtor. They have the information, but they still want that realtor to help them as their guide through the transactional process.
The process doesn't change. It's just the culture of the younger generation needs to get that information more quickly. And that's not a surprise to anybody. Anybody that's familiar with the internet knows. So realtors still have a huge advantage in knowing the process, teaching the process, and helping a client through the process. But you've got to get them in and teach that to the buyer pretty quickly, or else they'll lose interest and go on to YouTube and start looking at stuff.